Hello. Today is December 13th, 2005, and I just got home from my second ayahuasca ceremony, which is a lot different from the first one that I went to, which with the Santo Daime. The one I went to tonight was with a smaller group, not affiliated with the church, and it was at a private residence, and it only had 9 people in the circle, 8 women and 1 man, which was cool. So yeah, we had to bring our own like setup for comfiness. So I brought a sleeping pad and some blankets and pillows and stuff, and I got a ride with a couple of people that were going, and so we got to the place and set up and introduced ourselves and set our intentions. My intention was that I want to feel connection to spirit, to the world, to myself, and to love. And I want that connection solidified. And I wanted to meet and become the version of myself with energy, feeling alive, creative, and positive. So, and I said that I believed gratitude was my path. That's a pretty tall order. So we took our first drink of the medicine, and then I laid down and focusing on that path of gratitude, I started thinking about all the things that I was thankful for, all the people and the places and experiences, and that felt really good, but I wasn't really feeling the medicine so much. I kept staring at the ceiling because when I do psychedelics, often like patterns will emerge if I stare at something, and so I was staring at the ceiling. It had like a texture on it, and I could start to see, like, after about 40 minutes, I could see like patterns emerging. They looked kind of like Moroccan tiles or something like that, and really pretty. But that was it. And after 45 minutes, the facilitator came around and was checking on everyone, and I told her I wasn't really getting much, and so she gave me a little bit more. And then I laid down again and was staring at the ceiling, and the pattern started waving, and it felt like I was like looking into water. Only it was above me, which is kind of weird, but it was like I could see like the water line and like the waviness behind it and like energy behind it, and it felt like I could see like the veil, and it was very close. It was like a couple feet above me, but I couldn't like get to it, and I kept trying to like will myself to make that connection, like surrender, allow it, but it's like it just wasn't happening, and I realized that I was trying too hard and it shouldn't be that difficult. So then I went up to the facilitator and I told her that I was having trouble leaving my body, and so she gave me a little bit more. And then then stuff started happening. But so yeah, okay. So yeah, it took a few flaps to take flight, but once I did, and I did, thankfully, I had quite an experience. Um, the themes that I would use for tonight were emotion and empathy. When I was waiting after I took that third medicine serving, I was sitting, waiting, thinking, and I had my hand, sitting in my lap, and I was looking at it, and then I noticed like my fingers started moving like this, and then my whole and it wasn't me moving it. It was like I was just letting it happen. It felt like a phantom hand was like moving it. Um, but I was like, this is cool. I'm gonna see where this goes. So I watched and my hand was just waving at me, and then I followed that, and then I started like moving both my hands, and it was just like very fluid, and felt like I was getting an exam, like somebody was like checking, like, you know is are all the gears greased or whatever. um and then yeah, it kind of moved around my body like that. Like at one point it made me like stick out my tongue, and I could feel it like inspecting that. And um yeah, I kept going, and I ended up like getting a full chiropractic exam, pretty much. I there was a lot of convulsing and movement and like flexing, and I'm not really a dancey person normally, although I have been wanting to be that way. So maybe this was part of that, even though I didn't ask for it specifically. Yeah, I've been wanting to be able to like be more playful and fluid and not self-conscious to dance in front of other people. Um, so it all felt really good. I had been carrying a ton of tension in my back, and it's like, oh, I was just cracking, and it was so nice, and it felt like I imagined myself like suspended in space, and it was just like this thing was like knew all the right spots to pop, and how to stretch me, and like it was weird. I wasn't controlling it at all, and it was like going in a pattern. Like I would sit, and then all of a sudden be like like it was calculated and precise. Um, and it was incredible. It was like riding a ride. Like I was just letting it happen, and I loved it. I had a smile on my face. It was like very cool, very otherworldly, but I wasn't um like I wasn't like overtaken by it. I still was me, but it was like a cooperative thing. Very, very cool. Um then I may have taken a little more. I forgot, but I had my. I'm reading my notes. I had my big, like the biggest part of my experience, um, referring back to my intention for connection. This quote from my mom popped into my head, um, where she had said, um, you know, she was talking about how she feels towards babies, and she was like, yeah, I don't really like, I didn't really like you until you were a year old and had some personality. um, which makes sense. Babies kind of just like are squirmy parasites, and I don't really remember that comment bothering me, but I in this experience I went to that that place of my first year and even my 9 months in the womb, and realized that I didn't have a connection to my mom during that, which is a pretty formative, you know, really important time for development. Um, and I didn't feel a connection, and that's huge. I don't think a lifetime of therapy would have led me to this, to realizing this is where that originated. I mean, it doesn't really get more original than that, at least in this incarnation. Um, so yeah, that was incredible. I got to grieve um, for that loss of connection, um, and I also got to feel a lot of empathy for my mother, for how that must have felt for her, because I can imagine what it must be like to know that you should feel a connection to your baby, but you don't. That feels like it would be really excruciating. Um, what else? Oh, okay. So after I grieved for that loss, then I got to go back to the womb and talk to myself. I got to be reborn, actually. Um, I went through the birth, and I was talking to myself in the womb, and when, I didn't have that mother connection, but I got to whisper to myself, baby Janet, you are connected, baby Janet, which was really, really significant. And then I was born, and it was incredible. I felt like, I mean, maybe I was crying so much through all this, so my face was all wet, and it kind of felt like what a baby coming out with placenta would feel like, I imagine. And I I got to take my first breath, and I felt like when I took that, I felt like all this life coming into my limbs and through my fingers and my toes, like all through my body. And like the air smelled amazing, and like it was like I was born for real, taking in everything for the first time. Um, yeah, I can't imagine. And a lot of people say like youth is wasted on the young, or like I wish I knew back then what I know now. And I feel like, oh, that's my dog. Excuse you. um, I feel like I got that. I got to be reborn with the knowledge and wisdom that I have now. So it's very sexy, universe. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, man, that root of the lack of connection, wow, that's been such like a cause of so many of my problems in relationships and to myself and other people. Yeah, so after I was reborn as a human, then I was reborn as an owl, and owls are my animal. Owl is my totem, like my top. That's my animal. So that was incredible, and the owl, when it was born, it like I took breath differently, like as if I had a beak. It like it really felt like a different birthing, and like I could feel like my wings and my talons growing, and yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool. And I felt really invigorated, and yeah, that was incredible. Um, what else? Yeah, there were some other little things. Those were like the main, what I would call like the main show. Um, but I got a lot of little questions answered too, and I'm sure there's still more to be learned. Um, one thing that I really felt communicated was that I want to stop using the word drugs and start using the word medicine, because I think um, that's an important distinction to make, and that changing the wording is better for the connotation, and also, more representative of how I view it now. I think drugs drugs are like a crutch or a band-aid or something to escape with, and they're okay for that. I'm not anti-drugs at all. But medicine heals, and that's how I want to use these substances, is as medicine. So I mean, your intention has everything to do with that. And while I was having my experience, I actually kept thinking about this video, and how what I was gonna say about it. Like, when I was having trouble getting high, I was like, oh man, like, I've told all my friends that I was gonna like trip balls tonight, and I don't know, I was like, imagining reporting my disappointment or something. And then I was like, why do I care? Like, I'm mostly making this video for me. But I was like, what does that need for validation? And I realized that it's not really a need. It's more that I want to communicate to and connect with other people. It's not, I don't think that I actually need the validation, but I want to help other people. And yeah, so I feel like I can be a little bit easier on myself for, recording videos and posting photos of myself. There's like this stigma. Like, I love selfies, but there's like, you're not supposed to like pictures of yourself, or like posting pictures of yourself, or people might think you're narcissistic or something like that. But I think that's beautiful to have that relationship with yourself, and it's like a form of self-love. You take a picture that you like about yourself and spread it with the world. Yeah, I'm spacey. That didn't really make sense, but whatever. Yeah, and then I was thinking about like how judgy I can be, and I'll judge somebody, and then I'll judge myself for judging them. Like, oh, I wish I hadn't like thought that, or like, why am I such a bitch, or whatever. But I want to practice more like empathy there. Like, okay, I feel that way. Like, what is what is it about that I can relate to, that I don't like about myself? Because that's always, judgments are not really about anybody but yourself. Just like externalizing some issue that you have about yourself, and you have to figure out what that is. And I had some work around Donald Trump of all things. Kind of like, oh, empathy for Donald Trump actually, and all his supporters. I realized that um like Donald Trump has some serious pain, like his, agenda to separate people um must be a reflection of like how he's felt separated or does feel separated. And the fact that so many people agree with him means that a lot of people share that pain. And I think that it's the metaphor I used was that it's like when a pimple turns white, like it's ready to pop. Like it's like these things are coming up to the surface because they're like the most pressing needs that need to be healed. And yeah, I can relate. And maybe that's why it strikes a chord in me, because I felt really separated too. Um, so this connection is so important. Not being afraid to say hello to a stranger when you walk by them or make eye contact. Like, you have no idea how that can actually change someone's day. I've had my day changed by a smile or a kind word from a stranger. So I guess it's a lesson to like stop hesitating. Why not? Like maybe you'll have like a bad reaction one time, but like not every time, not most of the time. I don't know. I think it's important. I think there's a lot of small steps we can do to like not feel so separate and be open to connection. Um, so okay, well that's pretty much most of my experience that I can share right now. I still feel high from the medicine. I didn't drive. um, and I know that it's still going to be working through me. After our experiences, or toward the end of it, they, um, officially like turned the lights on, and then we all like gathered and had a potluck feast on really healthy food, and we all shared our stories. And it was really cool sharing my story because it felt like I was using my voice for the first time. Like it felt different coming out of my mouth. It sounded different. Like it felt different in my body. Like I feel like a new person, reborn for real. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing that that happened in just a few hours. Like all these blockages, major blockages, are gone. Like my throat chakra feels clear now, and my will, like it's at work there, and my back, it's amazing. This is medicine. It needs to be legal. I want everyone that I know and love to take this, if they want to. It's not for everyone, but man, it has such potential. Um, so yeah, it felt really good to share, and a lot of people commented that they like felt like they went on the journey with me when I told the story, and it felt like that, like I was living it while I was telling it. And whereas like yesterday, I would be like halfway like, what's everyone thinking, or am I talking too long, or this is stupid, or like very critical. But like I was so passionate about sharing it, and it was really well received. And I don't know, I felt really safe and happy and loved and accepted and okay to be vulnerable and weird and convulse. And yeah, the stories that other people shared were really beautiful. Um, Everyone had a different experience, but there was a group energy when I went up for another, when I kept upping my ayahuasca because I wasn't feeling it, and the facilitator was like, "Yeah, it feels like the group energy is going deep rather than up tonight," which was interesting. I think it's important to consider the group. So I wonder if like ayahuasca, you know, she has like these agendas for each person, but also for the group. I don't know. It's fascinating. Um, yeah, I want to do it again. I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to do like multiple nights of it. I would love to do that. And I mean, man, I would just want to like keep going for like hours, keep upping it, but I guess it's good to recuperate. But yeah, I'm into it. This is a magical medicine. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to conk out now and get some Z's. Thanks for watching.